as bridge makers, you're trying to bring reconciliation between polar opposites. Turn on the TV and you see the video. And you got two people that see two different things. One person sees a grave injustice, and the other person sees you got what you were asking for. How do you bring them together as a bridge maker to love and respect each other when their eyes are seeing such completely different things? Because let me tell you why I asked this question. Because right now, I'm seeing this person and this person saying, if you don't see what I see, take me off of your Facebook. That's not an option when you have the ministry of reconciliation. How do you bring them together?
So Jamie, be more specific in your question, if you don't mind. Is it that they feel like because he resisted arrest, or he was forging allegedly $20 bill, or what are you saying when you
give that example? The most recent video, we're not seeing that. I think there's a lot more agreement with the most recent video. There has been video that says, what an unfortunate event, but you have to expect stuff like this happens when you commit a crime. And then from the other one says, where's your compassion? A man just died and you're being so aloof about it. So you have these two different people focusing on two things that may or may not be accurate. For reconciliation to take place between those two polar opposites, where do we start that conversation?
The first thing you got to do is remove the hate. We've all done it. When you see somebody set on an issue and they hate the other side of the other person, if you don't get rid of the hate, you just might as well walk away. But you gotta, and I do this for a living, so I have to deal with it all. But the first thing you got to do is get that hatred wiped out. You got to get that hatred going. You got to find a way to make Tamika not hate people that wear green shirts. And you got to find a way to get that hate going. Once you get that hate going, now you got something to work on.
And the way you do that is to figure out where it's coming from and ask the why.
Yes, you got to drill into what I want to do when I got two people that hate each other. I want to know why. If I can get you to tell me the why, if I can just get you a reason, then I can start working on it. If I can't work on it, if I can just accept it and still get you to get rid of that hate, we can work. But you got to get past the hatred first. That's the first step. Once you get past the hatred, then you have a conversation. I'm a very optimistic person. I always expect a good outcome. And I believe that people are naturally good. I believe no matter what they make her think, she really wants to be a good person. I believe you want to be a good person. And so if I can just get us to talking from that good part of us, we can usually reach something good in it. We can at least get to a point we can both walk away without beating each other up. So I think that's the starting point. Get rid of the hate, and then let's work.
I want to be clear again, Jamie, on your question.
Yes, sir.
Because you mentioned this incident, right? And you're speaking specifically about this incident, correct?
This was George Floyd?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay.
It's a general statement.
Gotcha.
But technically it can be applied to every incident. I don't think that it applies well to the most recent incident because there's overwhelming agreement of the wrong that happened. There's other incidences where the opinion is split among the two extremes. When there's a situation like that and you're trying to manage or dialogue, manage or host dialogue? How can you be a bridge between two people who don't agree? Because we kind of live in a world where we're taught, if you don't agree with me, you hate me. And when we have two people who don't agree, can there still be respect and love in the midst of that blatant difference of vision and opinion?
I don't think so. I don't think we could get to a place, Jamie, where, and I'm like the chief, I'm optimistic. But I'm not optimistic about it. Here's the reason why. Because, the scripture says, let us love one another. And love is of God. And everyone who loves knows God and is loved by God. But everybody don't love God. And everybody sees love differently. Okay? And as I always say, love is not God. But God is love. And until people realize that and live their lives accordingly, they're like a clinging cymbal. Bing! They can tell you they love you all day long. They tell you they're not racist all day long. But if they don't know God and be a part of that, they're not going to understand that. They're not going to take that other viewpoint. It's not going to be there, Jamie. And they may do it for the sake of peace, but deep down in their heart, they're still going to hate you. They're still going to say, black people are this or white people are that. And they're going to always have it. Okay? So, without contradicting myself, I don't know if you're ever going to have a place in this world where that's going to be reconciled within the sense of all these instances that are happening. It's just, they're going to have viewpoints. They're going to make it political. They're going to change the narrative. It's going to be all over the place by the time it gets to the truth. And so you can't fight against things that are crazy like that. You gotta, as we've shared in this, and you've questioned us on it. That's why I wanted you to be a little bit more specific about what you're talking about. Because with the instance up in Minnesota, what we saw is what we saw. I don't care if the man had just, knocked over an old lady in the street, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw what we saw.
Right.
And that was wrong. And he needs to be held accountable to it. Okay? Any other argument is foolishness. That's how I look at it.
Right.
And so if you take sides, there's another video of him pushing an officer or spitting on him or whatever. There's another, you saw what we saw. So I'm not going to sit here and try to, make an excuse for the man for whether he's on drugs or whatever he's doing. But what I saw is what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so what I'm saying, Jamie, is I don't know if we're ever going to get to the sides, the arguments of what really took place in that instance. But I know that it's happened in the past, and it's got a lot of black people upset. Now it's on video, we can see it. Thus, the reaction. Okay? Coupled with is what I started with earlier with the history.
Right.
And so, and again, I don't take lightly the argument. I hear people when they say, you black people always want this, you want that, you always doing this, we want forgiveness. And reparations or whatever. Okay? And the old saying is, it's a black thing you really want to understand. It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you. But make no excuse for who's riding and all of that. That's a whole different subject.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't emphasize enough that, we've got a world out there that's doing, they're on a whole different plane than how we should be thinking as a Christian. And as a Christian, I'm looking at it as what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my boys, I haven't been persecuted. I've been pulled over. I hadn't been pushed to the ground by a police officer or whatever. Have I been prejudiced against? Probably. But my fight ain't that anymore. My fight is for the truth of the gospel now, see. And if I could get to that truth, all these other things will be added unto.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it. And so, the things of the Spirit are the things of the Spirit, the things of the flesh are the things of the flesh. And if we deal with the things of the flesh, then we're going to have results of the things of the flesh.
Mm.
But if we deal with the things of the Spirit, then we can rejoice in the Spirit. That's how I look at it.
Right.
So, I can disagree with anybody on Facebook. That's a big deal. Okay, I do. So, then but I know whom I believed in and who I've trusted. I think Coach Sweeney made a statement of some sort today or at some point in time. He made a statement about this issue. And everybody criticized him. You're supposed to be a coach. You ain't supposed to be a Christian. You ain't supposed to say those kind of things. Christians are, always going back to playing the Christian card. But I love the way that he stood his ground. Put it that way.
Yes, ma'am.
Personally, if there's an issue, I've seen posts like that as well where people make these comments and say, well, if you disagree, unfriend me now or defriend me. That's fine. You pray for them people. You ask God to help them to understand, to reconcile whatever friendships. But that's just Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Facebook. People are friends. Sometimes they're not friends. It might do them good to unfriend each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't worry about trying to help them bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
You just pray for them and hope that God will help them see what they need to see.
Mm-hmm.
And if they unfriend each other, that might be what's best. So people have to wrestle with their own vices.
Mm-hmm.
So each person's, if they're going to be, each person has their own opinion. And in order to respect that opinion, I just let it be.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a battle I choose to try to work out between them. Yes. I worry about me and my household. So if they're going to unfriend each other on Facebook, go ahead. It probably needs to be unfriended.
And and there's a motivation behind that question. My heart is for my ministry to reflect my community. And in my community is differences. And I want to bring those differences into one room and to worship one God. And those differences aren't going to change overnight. And their ignorance comes in many colors. And I have to have those people fall in love with each other, even though those differences are trying to pull them apart. And I think that the answer has been sprinkled throughout this whole conversation. I've heard personal accountability. I've heard grace. I've heard removal of hate. I've heard dialogue, which worries me about the whole unfriend me, because to me that's the death of dialogue.
But they should have their relationship first.
The
they
trust.
need to have a true relationship and not a Facebook relationship. If they've got a true relationship and friendship, if they have a true friendship and respect and love for each other, they can see that and have a conversation. They have to have a real friendship and not a social media friendship. something
artificial.
valid. Yes.
And I think the word respect came up. It can't be honesty without respect. And then what you said brings me all the way back to the very beginning. I said, hey, how would y'all like to have a Zoom meeting? And Chief says, this needs to be done in person. Some things can't be done over social media. It has to be done in person. Because that's where love is felt and sensed. It's face to face.
That's exactly right.
And,
I got several on my feed. Boy, they hate it, man. I don't get in the conversation with them. They hate it. They just hate it. But this is good. And, you know, with them, it'll be good. You know, these, like I said, we got 4 empty chairs here, so more than that, really. But
that's right.
I think you keep the dialogue and you be doers of the word in that sense, and then see what God has for us.
Closing comments.
Well, I just want to personally thank you for having us and hosting us. And I've enjoyed meeting the chief and Damika and just being a part of something very unique and special. My closing comment is this. This meeting is a fire that cannot be quenched. And it shouldn't be quenched. If it is quenched, we've met in vain. Okay? So I pray that we would someday our kids, our grandchildren, will look back and say, you know, there was 4 people and a couple of camera people in a room. And God did something we've never done before. That's my prayer.
Chief?
Well, Jamie, I've enjoyed it. I didn't know it was going to be such a intense, moving conversation, but it was, and it gave me a lot of new thoughts, a lot of new insights, and I'm gonna go along with him. I hope it's something we continue, and it's really good to see that you're doing this. You know, I like the kind of thing, and I'm not gonna cut any corners on it. I like it, and I like it because of stuff like this. It's nice that I can go home and do my life the way I want to, and there are people like you doing stuff like that. So I appreciate it. I'm glad I had all this conversation with y'all. And my name is Sean.
Sean,
Not
don't
always
call
gonna
you
be-
Chief.
I'm always gonna be a cop, but I'm always gonna be Sean.
All right.
I want to thank you so much for taking time, having this idea, getting this conversation going, and having enough care and concern about our people, about the world, about everything that's going on right now, to actually put some things in motion. You've challenged our thinking. We've all learned new things. So now I can't wait to see what's next.
And I'm looking forward to it. And if something's laid on your heart that I can participate in or be a part of, please holler out to me. And the answer's already yes. It's just a matter of figuring out how to do it. And appreciate your leadership, appreciate your voice and your love in our community. And look forward to our lives and our ministries overlapping as much as possible. So thank you so much, and I appreciate y'all watching.